ReptileAds.com is the modern marketplace for buying and selling reptiles, amphibians, and exotic pets. Built by Purple Turtle Technologies, we're creating the most trusted platform in the industry. Join thousands of breeders and collectors on the most trusted reptile marketplace. List your animals, connect with buyers, and grow your business with Reptile Ads. Enjoy our easy access to stores as well as a genetic calculator for your convenience. Stop by and check us out today.
What's going on? How is everybody?
What's up? What's up? We got, I don't know how many people in here right now, but we'll
Showing one.
there we go. Hey, one person. We'll still hear our audience at the end of the day. That's awesome.
Yeah.
Wicked.
We're up to 2 now. So.
There we go. There we go. People are starting to see it. They're like, oh, they're going live. We got to get in there. Yeah.
Yeah. So I've got it on both Instagrams right now as well.
Nice. So, Yeah. We excited to kick the week off, man. I mean, it's awesome. I'm pumped. I did get some new materials, some other things ordered. I got some cool news and all that of some things that I'm going to be, acquiring here in the next couple of days. And yeah, I'm pretty pumped about it. So,
yeah.
But I'll flip it to you first. What's new in the realm of Satrimo?
Well, I did throw another pairing together. I got a normal clown to the VPI Xanthic het clown male.
Nice.
So we're still we're not where we were with the lesser clown pairing,
right?
But I'm picking up and pushing forward. So
yeah, just hit the reset button. Kind of still trying to push for the visual with the het. Right.
Yeah, absolutely. Nice. So above and beyond that, we are we're getting ready to take new pictures and list the remaining pied hatchlings.
Oh,
I got 5 of them going up. I've got 4 already spoken for. So yeah, that's where we are with that. Other than that, it's just business as usual. Yep. Playing with the new ultrasound, utilizing it, getting used to it. I've got one going out tomorrow, so I've got the shipping box and everything all squared away here.
Nice.
So as I get home, I'm gonna soak him and put him in a bag and ship him off. So
yeah. Is that the one that's headed to Mitzi?
No, that's going to a different guy in like Wisconsin area.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, that's total different snake. So this is an adult banana.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Nice. Well, can't go wrong with that. Move them in, move them out. Do what you got to do.
Yeah. So. Yep. We're making room for the grow outs and things that we're going to utilize further in other projects. So
there you go. Yeah. Still going to be at capacity or pretty darn well close to it.
I've got a couple more adults to come loose of. And then it's going to be hurry up and wait. When is it time to upgrade to the 5540? Yep. I've got 23 cord over here with some smaller male adults that are breed ready.
Gotcha.
I think I'm going to do that for the ones that I can house in that tub comfortably, and then the rest of the adult male is going to be less half rack here.
Gotcha.
Behind me, and then the females that are not actively breeding and not 100% there are going to be up here at the top.
Nice. That's awesome.
That's awesome. Yeah. And we're just pushing forward, moving forward, everything. So, surprisingly enough, man, this year I've already cleared out quite a bit of snakes. I really only have 4 adults. One's already spoken for to ship out. other
Nice.
than the banana.
Nice. Yeah.
And then just the 5 hatchlings, I believe. 6 hatchlings total.
Okay. Yeah, that's a good way to be, man. You're getting them moving, so that's always a pleasant thing. I guess over here, we welcomed a new addition this week, last week was last week, just after Thursday. Thursday. Doing great. I need to get with you so you can shoot me that listing again, because I definitely I gapped. I got my label maker out and I'm like,
Yeah.
like, I know she's a female. That's all I know. So I gapped it. So I'll have to get with you about it on that one. But
Yeah, you're going to have to be like me. As old people keep a notebook.
yeah, something. I think I'm gonna have to start or something, man. It's it was something, and I was like, okay, well, maybe it'll float in. But then I was, chatting around with some people, and we got something in the works, something coming that's going to be pretty epic, and it's going to launch some projects, fast and in a hurry in the right direction once everything's kind of said and done, which is awesome. I'm pretty pumped about that. Almost finished with my grow out rack whenever my heat tape decides to show up. So
yeah.
that was a couple of bits of material that I ordered, and I'm just waiting now. So once that shows up, we'll get that thing all installed and get it rocking and rolling, and all that. I opted for the 4-inch heat tape this time, just because it's going to give it a little bit bigger of a heat spot for the hatchlings and everything. That way they don't have to really bunch up, towards the back as much. So that'll be nice. And we're springing for that. And I'm probably going to put them. I can't decide if I'm going to go a VE3 or a VE3X2. I can't decide yet. I haven't decided on that yet. So I think maybe the X2, just so that I can split it. Kind of split it in half. That way it doesn't take as much and doesn't push as much load. Might be a little bit better on the tape. So
Yeah, that's the route that I would suggest. I utilize those quite a bit myself, just for that. Yeah. I've got a V3 and a 200 watt on this rack behind me, and I've got it split into 3 different segments. And then anything over 5 slots, I'm running another leg off the
So. I got you. Yeah, I've been thinking about it, because this is gonna be a 9 rack, so it's a 9 tall, 4 wide. It's a big beefy thing. It's gonna house a good amount of snakes in due time. Mainly, I mainly got it for once I actually start putting eggs on the ground. I'll have plenty of space for grow outs, in the 6 quarts, which got plenty of those, so not too worried. Yeah. Other than that, I did reach out to somebody about some quail eggs, some fertile quail eggs. I'm gonna try my luck at some quail hatching.
Yeah.
That's
a good alternative.
Yeah. I was thinking, I was projecting feeder wise. I'm good on quantity, right? I have enough. I have a good offset going and everything like that. I'm just, what else could I introduce as a variety, right? Give them a little bit of kind of diverse diet. Maybe not so much just your traditional back and forth between your Norwegians and your ASFs. Try to maybe throw something else in there, because, that does happen in the wild, and it is very natural for them to partake in young birds as well. So give it a shot. That'll be interesting. I'm going to get those on Wednesday. I got a young edition coming on Wednesday as well. Me and G Paul worked something out, and it'll be here Wednesday. Hopefully she turns out to be 100% for sure a female, because I've been duped before.
Yeah.
Which is why I have to have a clown now, everybody, FYI. Nothing against clown, but I didn't think I was going to rush to get clown in my collection, but now I have to. So yeah. But yeah, other than that, we're kind of just staying part of course, you know, just kind of working our method, working our system, and loving every minute of it. Can't wait to actually get to do this, you know, on a more frequent basis. I think it is going to turn into something pretty awesome as the years progress on. So
Yeah.
But
Awesome.
Yeah. But enough of me rambling and carrying on. We got a super awesome guest coming on tonight to chat it up. He's truly living the dream, as I like to claim. And I'm sure he would agree that he's got it pretty well made in the shade. So
yeah.
Carl,
if I could retire today and do what he's doing, I'd be on it.
yes.
So.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. Yep. Well,
all right. So let's bring Matt out and give him the stage.
Perfect.
How you doing, Matt?
What's going on, guys?
So there's going to be people swinging through that know you. Of course, we know you, but there's going to be tons of people catching up later for sure that doesn't. So we like to ask everybody just introduce themselves, give us a little backstory on yourself. That way we can let everybody know who you are.
Yeah, sounds good. Matt Burton, operate KMB Reptiles. We're in Dayton, Ohio, and we do a lot of the local shows around here. So if anybody's local, you've probably seen us at one of the shows by you. But I got into reptiles when I was a kid, kind of like everybody else, catching stuff. And then I finally broke my parents down to let me keep some stuff at home. I had snakes from the time I was like probably 10 up until I left for college. I first bred stuff back in high school. I bred sand boas back then, and then I had a ball python collection that I had raised up. Never bred them. By the time I got them raised up, I was getting ready to sell the collection to go to college. My first morph purchase back then was in 2011, and I bought a male super pastel and a female spider because, like everybody else, I wanted to make bumblebees.
Oh, yeah.
And so I went through college, the last year of college. My girlfriend at the time, my wife, she always knew that I used to keep reptiles and that I was into them. And I kept trying to wear her down. She's like, there's no way in hell we're ever going to have snakes in the house. I'm like, all right. But check out this bearded dragon. It's got a funny little costume on. That's cute, right? She's like, yeah, that's kind of cute. I could get on board with a bearded dragon. So we got a bearded dragon. I think this was like 2018. Had the bearded dragon for like 6 months, and then I'm like, these crested geckos are pretty cool. Gargoyle gecko's pretty cool. We could get a couple of those, right? Yeah. And so we got a couple of those. She got into those, and then she was like, okay, maybe snakes aren't like that big of a deal. So I bought an adult female from a guy I knew locally, and she was like, all right, one snake, whatever. And then I was like, well, my super pastel back when I was 16 now resides at my brother's place. So I went and picked him up, brought him over, and at 7 or 8 years old, he got his first locks in. And this was 2019. So I had a clutch 2019, a clutch 2020, and then I started really buying stuff like project stuff in like late 2018, early 2019. And then my first like real investments were in the fall of 2019. So I started off with stuff on my female side, and then I got a male pastel DG Posset pied, and I think he was like $600. And at the time I was like, all right, we're going big, $600. This is crazy for a snake. And 2021 proved him out, het pied in his first season. I think he made me, and this is 2021, so like prices are up, and I think he made me 5 DGs that were POS het pied. I kept 3 of those, all 3 proved het pied, sold 2 of them, and then I made 5 pied combos that were 100% het DG, kept all of those. And 2023 or 4 was my breakout year, because I would do like 10 clutches, 12 clutches, 13 clutches, and then I had 30 And then last year I did 34. And then this year I'll be probably in like the 40 to 50 range. So this last year, last May, my daughter was born. And in April, I went full time. Like there's a caveat with full time. This is like, my wife's an attorney. She's got a great job. Her earning potential was higher than mine was working at construction. And I am not replacing my income. Like when people ask, like, when is the right time to go full time? It's when you're making more than what you're making at your day job, like much more than you're making at your day job. I am still not making as much as I was making at my day job, but for the price that we would be paying for a daycare, the other half of my income, I'm able to make that on the snakes, and I can do this in the morning and at night, and I'm able to stay home with my daughter. So like
so it makes sense.
Yeah. It made too much sense. It's afforded us the lifestyle that we want, and that will benefit our daughter.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
100%.
You gotta think family first always. So if you're able to, split the time between the two of you, it's always the preferred method, 100%.
Yeah.
So
yeah, it's been really good. We the last couple months, probably was like 6 months or so, I was also watching a friend's baby, and like it was like their daycare had fallen through or something, and so I was just bring him here until you can find somewhere else. So I had him for a few months, and while if I just have my daughter, I can come down here. I've got a bouncer down here. She'll just bounce and hang out with me, and I'll get 20, 30 minutes of work done, and then come back down a little bit later, 20, 30 minutes of work done while she's just playing. But can't do that with two of them. So I was my snake working hours were from 4 a.m. to 6:30, and then from 7 p.m. to like 9 p.m. So I'm very happy to not be doing that anymore. And my like 3:45 alarm is now a 5 a.m. alarm, which is what I prefer. But I've also got a lot of help from my parents. So my mom and dad on Tuesdays, they watch my daughter so that I can get snake work done. And then on Thursdays, they watch her again so that I can get rodent work done. So we breed up all of our own rodents. They're offsite at a buddy's place. We've got a full barn of rats, ASFs, and mice. So we'll take one day, get everything knocked out on Thursdays. I come back, I feed on Thursdays, and then that lets me work from like 9 a.m. to 4 p.m. and I can get most of what I need to get done besides the, checking for eggs, checking for ovulations, making sure everybody's good. But I'm able to break up those chunks in those 2 main days a week, and it's been a huge benefit.
Yeah, absolutely. Sounds like it's coming together for you a little bit, though.
Yeah. It's kind of just like fine tuning how I'm doing things, and while at the same time I'm just sitting on my hands waiting for new babies. Like I'm low on babies that are left from last year, and I'm checking females 2-3 times a day. Like, come on, let's go.
Yeah. Hurry up and wait. That's
I think after a few seasons of doing this, I think that's the most painful thing is you're doing everything on the snake's schedule, not yours. You spend most of your time waiting, whether it's waiting to see a lock, waiting for that prelay shed, waiting for eggs to drop, waiting for stuff to hatch. It's definitely a game of patience for sure.
Yeah, it is. I feel like that's where a lot of people have a little bit of a shortcoming is they want and I'm the generation where it's like, I want everything right now. And this is not the hobby for somebody who has that kind of mindset, because you'll be humbled very quickly and you'll be very impatient. So I'm like naturally pretty impatient, and this has like taught me a little bit of balance.
Yeah.
That actually it proves true. It's applicable in other areas as well. You learned the patience with the snakes. Now you're going to have endless amounts of patience when your daughter starts to grow up and get older and starts to do those things. I always tell people, I was like, that's where I learned most of my patience. I had most of my kids very early, and I'm an incredibly patient person. So this, nothing.
Yeah.
It is what it's right. I'll sit here and I'll just stare at them all day. It's like watching paint dry. I'm okay. It's no big deal. But yeah, it definitely it teaches you how to be applicable in other areas of your life. You know, teaches you the patience. It teaches you the motivation, the drive, the consistency. Absolutely, just stick to it. And like you said, you're fine tuning. You're making small, subtle adjustments to find a method that works perfect to what you need it to, which is awesome.
Yeah, and that always changes. It's not like you figure it out and then you're good from then on out. Like it's
right.
I change how I do things weekly, monthly.
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah.
Yep. He's like, I'm gonna start at the bottom this time and work my way up. Then I'm gonna start at the top and work my way down.
Right.
You know?
Yeah. Well, the other thing too is each snake behaves a slightly bit different. You know, they not only do they all have their own personalities, but certain females will ovulate in a certain month almost every year like clockwork.
Mm-hmm.
You know, so you're not going to rush that girl to do what you want her to do. You're going to catch the eggs on her time, and you're going to pair her on her time because she's not waiting for you. She's ready when she's ready.
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah. So let's burn through some of these comments real quick. So of course we got John double dipping.
Yeah, I mean, I had to be first. Had to get up there first.
Yeah. So we got Matt double dipping as well. We got a new face, Mill Racer Reptiles. I've not seen the name, but I'm happy you're here.
Yeah, they're good people. They're local. I can't remember. I think they might be in Indiana. If not, they're close by. They've been doing the that Clarksville, Indiana show.
Cool. Okay, yeah, we have yet to go check that one out. The wife and I would love to go check that one out. So next month, I think we're going to try, if my work schedule allows, to get down to Clarksville and check it out.
Is it this big Columbus? They said Columbus, Indiana is where they're at.
Yeah.
Cool.
Oh, they're in Columbus?
They're in Columbus, yeah. So do you guys are they said mill race, do they do like racers, like blue racers, stuff like that? Like are they colubrid people?
No, ball python people. I don't know where the race came from. They'll have to chime in.
Yeah. So Big Ten Exotics, he's actually bought one of my snakes and he started kind of following from there.
Nice.
Talk back and forth and social media and such.
I was gonna say I haven't seen that name yet, so that's cool. That is cool.
So he's been in here the last 3 weeks, I think, or 2 weeks.
Okay.
So we got 666, of course. Nick's always showing support.
Yep.
Michael Duvall, he'll probably be here till we shut her down.
Yeah. He hangs out the whole night. So.
So there's where it said Columbus.
Yeah.
And they said the show's been good to them.
Cool.
Mill Race is a local landmark for Columbus. Okay.
Cool. Have to check that out. I've not been that way too much. I go out that way to pick up stuff off Marketplace every once in a while. But
so I head that way to check out 450 North Brewing Company.
Okay.
They're pretty cool. And I mean, like, what is that? Towards Brown County area. And, like, there's a lot of stuff. Cool things to do down there too.
Yep.
We got Wrapped Up. That's the first time I believe we saw them.
Yep, Jacob, good dude.
You talked about the brewery's about 5 minutes from your house.
He's got it made. Yeah, he got it made. Yeah.
So
awesome.
I suggest anything with the word cheesecake in the title.
Can't ever go wrong with cheesecake.
Oh man. G-Paul's in here. He's watching till the party starts. It's his daughter's birthday party today.
Yeah. He said he's gonna catch the replay because he said he's gonna miss because of the birthday. But yeah, that's cool.
Yeah.
Appreciate it. Anybody who is on Instagram currently, do pop over to the new YouTube channel. You can find us at the Breeding Grounds Live on YouTube. That's where we kind of head up our main broadcast from. It is the new channel. This is where everything's going to kind of culminate together for the Monday experience and some other things kind of built up as time goes on. So,
Yep. Awesome. So, you talked a little bit about how you got started, Matt. Um, can you tell some of the people what were your main projects the first couple of years, and then how has that evolved into what you're working now?
The first couple of years was kind of like everybody else. Like I whatever I thought looked cool. Pied was definitely the first like main focus that I had. So like I was saying, I built up a little bit of a female side of Pied stuff, and then bought that DG Het Pied male to run to those. My first before then, I didn't keep anything. I would sell an entire clutch and use that to buy like one new animal.
Mhm.
So the years that I had 10, 12, 13 clutches, I think I might have kept one snake from that. And I think I even sold that before I even bred it. But I was always kind of viewing it as like trying to go a little higher end. And so whenever I was making this lower end stuff, I would sell the whole clutch, get $1,500, buy a $1,500 animal. And I wanted to keep like the amount of snakes low at the time, not now, but the amount of snakes low. That way it was easy to keep up on everything, because obviously I was still working full time and juggling every other thing. So whenever I was selling all that stuff, after I bought those original pied animals, I started buying some just like simpler clown stuff. So I was making like Enchi leopard clowns, fire clown combos, just like simple stuff, but stuff that I could afford at the time, coming right out of being a broke college student.
Yeah.
And I really used all of the money that I made. Even now, I think like last year was like the last time I think where I like put everything back in, because obviously now I'm paying bills with this. So I knowing that this was the like end trajectory of being full time, that way I could be home with my daughter, I really like went heavy on making sure I had the infrastructure in place to be able to do that.
Mhm.
And then once I started getting like a bigger collection, I added a lot of DG clown stuff. I added a lot of tri-stripe stuff. I don't work tri-stripe much anymore, but I added a decent amount of that. Just like simple DG combos, and hypo was another big focus. At the time when I was buying hypos, I would always hear people shitting on hypo, but then I would go to the show, and all the snakes that I thought were the coolest were all hypos. So I'm like, screw it. Like I'll work the cheap stuff. It just looks better. So I'll work that. And that thankfully paid off, because now obviously the hypo resurgence. But now the big focus for me is, I'm not necessarily doing like the triple, quad, penta stuff. I don't have the collection size to support that, but triples, I'm working towards like DG hypo puzzles and everything that encompasses that. So DG puzzle, hypo puzzle, DG hypos, as well as DG hypo clown, and then True Ghost and DG Exanthic is like the main thing that I've got. So the way that I'm pretty much trying to structure it is like, I'm going to have one rack of show stuff. And so I'm going to make like OD banana clown pieds, bells, like simpler, like Exanthic stuff, stuff that is $200, $300, $400 and sells easily at shows. And then the other 2 to 3 racks I'll use for my project stuff. So puzzle is probably my main focus this year, with like DG and hypo following that up, and then clown. I'm just not super deep on clown. So I just have like a little bit of a pocket of it. And then my DG pied stuff, while it was a big investment, and I'm still, making nice DG pieds that are selling well for the higher end market, simpler DG pied combos, once they reach that, 350, 400 for like when an OD DG pied reaches $400 or $500, it's going to sell very well at shows. So keeping that in mind, I'm making just pretty DG pied stuff, knowing that I'll probably gear that more towards a pet buyer rather than a long-term investment stuff. So I'll still have like the higher end DG pied stuff because like this year I'll be doing like OD Enchi yellow belly hurricane DG pied stuff. But then I'm also just going to try to make like OD DG pieds, yellow belly DG pieds, stuff that just looks pretty. I can put out for $400 and then call it a day on that.
Yeah.
So I'm trying to balance it between the pet market that I do well with locally, and then my online market with a lot of the higher end stuff.
Yeah, yeah. So you'll actually fit right there in the pocket of mid-tier keeper and low-end, like entry-level breeder with those DG pieds.
Yeah,
so
yeah. I want animals that could really go either way. Where I'm going to make some bells, and that's 99% going to be a pet buyer. But if I've got stuff that is appealing to a pet buyer because it looks really pretty, but also is a decent stepping stone for somebody who's starting off with a breeding project, that's really a sweet spot, because now you've got two buyer bases instead of just pet or just high end.
Yep.
That's awesome.
Absolutely.
That's awesome. So do you the way you kind of describe it, you center your projects off of your recessive pairings more so. See, that's when I was doing my rebuild, that's kind of what I was leaning into, was I was centering it around recessive traits first, and then building in codoms after that. So do you feel like for somebody who say is very still introductory, still building up a collection, that is the right way to go? Find your recessives that you want to touch and then start adding in the codoms? Or would it be like in their best effort to try to kind of pull from different directions to stuff that they just absolutely love seeing?
I think there's a balance to it. I think picking a recessive is definitely a smart move. I don't know that I would go solely on codoms, but if I could do it all again, I would have added incomplete dominance quicker, because my DG pied stuff, I went 3 years of just making DG pieds, pastel DG pieds, Enchi DG pieds. I didn't have anything else in it. And then I'm like looking at all this other project stuff that's come up, and I'm like, I've just let this project almost sit. Like I kept a lot of the females. I've got like 12 really nice females that I could make nice DG pied combos with, but they're pied het DGs, they're DG het pieds, there's like Enchi double hets. There's not really a lot of incomplete dominant stuff. And then I'm running the pastel DG het pied to them for 3 years in a row. So you shoot yourself in the foot by trying to spread out a little bit too quickly, which is what I did, because everything looked cool. So I wanted to have all these projects, and I'm like, oh, I can work 10 different projects. That's no big deal. But in my mind, a project needs 20 females. I can only have so many snakes in a 20 by whatever basement.
Yep.
So I think picking a recessive or a double recessive, if it's somebody's going to keep a small collection, like I just forget triples. Like you need so many animals to make like headway on multi recessive projects and double recessive stuff that we haven't done. Like if somebody just wanted to do just DG hypos, you have a huge runway. If somebody just wanted to do DG exanthic stuff, huge runway. And I think people kind of got ahead of themselves, myself included. And I'm going through my racks and I'm like, normal, pastel, and they're all double, triple, quad het stuff. But I mean, I tell people at the shows, it's one thing for me to go to a show and sell pretty babies, but when I'm looking at the adults every day, I also want to see pretty stuff. So it's a balance, and I think it depends on what level you want to do it at too. Like if you have it in your mind where it's like, I'm going to do solely high end, you're probably going to have a bunch of normals visually and that are going to be hets. But if you're just doing it for a hobby, like pick a small project, like a double recessive with 2 or 3 incomplete dominants. You've got 2 males and 10 females, and you can do really cool stuff with a small collection if it's focused. Where people get ahead of themselves as it gets too spread out and nothing really works together. Right.
Gotcha. Yeah. I could see that being like a high concern area where you just like, I have 2 recessives here and 2 recessives here, and only one of them line up, but this just looks pretty and this looks like this, and it's only a single incomplete dominant, and this has no incomplete dominance, and it just things aren't lining up in the long run of things. You're producing a bunch of snakes that still come out looking normal or come out very, very limited on what they have capable for. So I appreciate that advice, because that is something that not a lot of people touch or talk about, because they're like, well, industry says this, and yeah, sure, big industry. You're looking at the guys who are running the show, who have facilities worth of snakes, endless amounts of time, effort, and energy, employee base, and all that. That are like doing it to that fullest extent of their capabilities, that have the room for the overhead, like you said, to have 20 to 40 females for the quint recessives and the quad recessives and all that kind of stuff, to where they can just say, hey, this male's going to go to these 3 and this male's going to go to these 4, and they can just really hammer it in. But somebody like me, I'm sitting at 30. I'll have 32 by the end of the month. That's it. That's my limit. I'm at capacity to what I'm comfortable with. So limiting my, like, reducing down and being very deliberate is kind of the direction that I was thinking. So I do appreciate you reinforcing that for me, that I'm not making I don't feel like I'm making foolish decisions by doing what I'm doing. So.
No. And then knowing that I was going to have a larger collection eventually, I was like comfortable making a lot of different project stuff, knowing that I'll be able to use this in the future. I'm not necessarily going to have like the funds to go buy a great banger male and run to all of them. But whenever I can get to that point, I'll have this base of females ready to go. But if I were doing what you were doing and I had 30 animals, I would pick a double or a triple recessive, and that'd be it.
Yeah.
And because you get to a point where it's like, okay, I made 30 clutches last year and it's spread over 10 different projects. So I've got 3 clutches per project, and I might have hit 1 or 2 out of those 3 clutches that I even want to keep. So now I don't even have a project. I have 1 animal in that project with nothing really else to do. So whenever I was making females like that, I was like, okay, cool, I'll just shelf them and then I'll have a project for them later. But when I'm trying to get something that I'm trying, like a male, like I'm trying to use quicker, it gets a little frustrating when you have such a limited pool per project and you're not hitting what you need. So if you spread that odds out, then you'd be better off.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Yep.
And I'm just like, like very entry level breeder myself. I think I'm sitting at 91 ball pythons. So, and we're pretty close. I mean, like I've got plenty of room for hatchlings and the hatchlings to move and stuff like that. But we're right about at my comfort level for snakes that I want to actually work with. Something that I did want to ask you, Matt. You told me, I think it was 6 months ago or 7 months ago, I think, if memory serves me, that you need to get better at keeping holdbacks.
Mm-hmm.
Is that getting any better for you? Making any strides towards that?
Yeah, I did a lot better this year. 2024 and 2025, I did a little bit better. So I think 2024, I might have kept 15, 12, 15. Most of them were females, but I did keep. So normally what I was keeping, making females, keeping those, and then I would buy a male with what I could afford for that project. And then 2024, I think I made 7 or 8 males that I kept. And I needed to do better about that this last year. And I kept 6. So not as many as I probably should have. But I was able to sell stuff and buy other stuff that I wanted. So it kind of evens out. The female side, I probably had, there's probably 20 females over in this 50 series rack. There's probably another 20 in this rack. So about probably 35, 40 females that I kept this last year. And a lot of them are, so like, it's a simple one: sulfur, axanthic, het pied. That'll replace I've got a pastel double het pied brooder female. So like I'll keep her, and then after she has this clutch, then I'll sell her. So I kept an OD DG pied and an NC yellow belly DG pied females. So that'll be able, like, one NC yellow belly DG pied replaces my 2 NC double hets and an NC pied het. And then the OD is going to replace an OD double het and a pied het DG. So I'm like, I forget who said it. I think Wilma Rose reiterated it, but I think it might have been Mandic said to like get big and then get small, because after I have this like next wave of the better stuff coming up, I'll be able to have one snake replace 3. So I don't have 3 double hets. I've got 1 double visual. And like, obviously they're not all going to go, so the odds might not work out the same, but for the limited amount of space that I have 127 adult tubs. And I was measuring yesterday, and I can fit one more 55 series in here if I needed to, but I think 127 is a good cap.
Bust out that tape measure, man. I get it.
Yeah,
I get it.
So and that's one thing. I think it was my Mystic Pied that I showed you, and you're like, man, that's great. It's going to replace that female. You know, it's visual pied where she's a het pied. You said I've got to get better at keeping holdbacks, and to me, it's an easy decision, right? This one is a clear upgrade for this snake. You know, here pretty soon it's going to be this one is replacing 2 snakes or even 3 snakes for me, and then once you get there, you're taking 3 snakes and replacing 9 snakes.
Yeah,
you know. And I think that's the goal, is to every time you hold a whole pack, it's a clear benefit. You know, it's clearly a better snake than this one, or these 2 or 3, or maybe even 4. And then once you stack a few of them up like that, you've got a slimline or slimmer collection, but you still got room for, 3, 4 females or 5 females in that project with a handful of males,
Yeah, and when you do get clutches from them, they're going to be much higher quality odds wise.
Yes.
And like that takes a lot of discipline, because like you wait, we were talking about patience, you wait so long to be producing the snakes. And then once you're hitting stuff and be like, I could sell this for $2,000 right now. I can get another rack, or I could sell this for $2,000 and I can buy another male. But then that's what I did the first, like, when I was telling you that I needed to be better about keeping holdbacks, just because I was doing that, because it was hard to turn down a nice little payday on an animal. But then 2-3 years later, I'm like, man, I really shouldn't have sold that, because now I'm still breeding a double het when I could be breeding, a double visual or whatever. So like hindsight is always there, but I'm kind of to the point now where like the first 2 or 3 seasons, I would have stuff and be like, oh, this is worth that much. This is worth this much. I don't even look at values on anything until it's had like a couple meals, because I'll take a clutch, I'll pick out the 1, 2, or 3 that I really like from it, and I just put it straight in the holdback rack. I don't even think about it. And because it's like, I need to not have that temptation. If I look at an animal and I think this could replace these 2 adults that I have, it's going in there, and then I'm just going to act like it never even like existed. Obviously it does, but I'm going to act like it's not even an animal that's considered to be available. And
here's
then
the available rack. That's where you're looking.
Yeah.
I get that. 100%. And this is a dumb move on me, and I'll tell them myself. I'm holding back one of these pied females. And to me, that's more of a personal gain. That doesn't do anything as far as replacing a snake, other than the fact that I'll grow her up, and in 3 years or so, I'm going to be breeding her instead of one of the pied females that I already currently have.
Mm-hmm.
All that's going to accomplish is I'm breeding my own stock.
Yeah.
That's it.
That's rewarding enough as it is.
Yeah, and that
and
was
you picked
a personal achievement.
You got to think your holdback has better expression, or more to what expression you wanted, right? So that's you got to look at it that way too. So you when you're being selective and you're like, yes, I'm not advancing my project, but you are also picking things that fit better to what you like looking at and things that are going.
That goes back to what Matt had said. He wants to enjoy looking at what he has too. When I open up a drawer, I want to be like, wow, every time.
Yeah. And you'll find too that the stuff that you raise yourself is going to do better for you long term, like breeding wise. Like the stuff that is born here and never leaves the room, it goes every year. It eats great. It doesn't have little weird spells where it doesn't want to eat and then it skips every other year. The stuff that you buy is more likely, especially if you buy it with size, the stuff that you buy is more likely to not be like 100% on track. But whenever you're raising stuff, it's just like the homegrown stuff always, for me at least, has done like noticeably better than stuff that I buy and bring in.
Yeah. Well, I switched the this year's holdback. I got her to take rat pups. I switched her from that first mill straight to ASFs. And let me tell you, she's 188 grams as of 2 weeks ago when I weighed her, where I got some of the other ones that are 96. And I'm not feeding her any more than the rest. You know what I mean? She gets fed every 3 to 5 days like the rest of them. And I kind of vary it, bounce it back between 3 and 5 days. Just, but her and then a banana that I'm sending to Texas, they're on ASFs and they're like way up here. And I think that has a lot to do with it too. You raise your own rats, so do I, right? You control what goes into your rats. You control the quality of your feeders, period.
Yeah.
There's no question on what quality you have. You're feeding quality in, so quality comes out is how I feel.
Yeah. Yeah. That taking your ASF straight from your room over into your snake room there, because like people talk about gut loading insects, but people don't talk about gut loading rodents. If you feed an empty rodent to a snake, it's missing out on a lot of it. I forget who it was. I want to say it was Jessica on the holdback rack. But she was like, over time, if you have a snake that is only fed like rats or mice that are completely empty, don't have any food in their stomach, that is what processes as vitamin C for the rodent. And so a snake can actually get scurvy if it's fed empty rodents for so long. I can't remember. She said that years ago, I think. But you can see whenever you have a snake that is like the same age as somebody else's, if I was buying in rodents, I would have to get them a couple of days early, make sure they're fed, make sure they're well watered, because a lot of the time whenever these big rodent producers are selling stuff, it's been sitting in a for sale rack for a day. So it's empty.
Yeah. I mean, shoot, just cleaning last night, I felt like they emptied themselves out in a matter of 20 minutes. You move them into your temporary hold tub, and then it's just caked. It's everywhere. You're like, what? How does that happen? How did you guys produce that much that fast? Oh my goodness.
You do Norwegians or ASFs?
Both.
Okay.
Yeah. So and I mean, the Norwegians are real bad about it. They will just start immediately just going and going and going. They don't quit.
They're machines.
How does it? And that's it gets that. I'm doing a really good job of keeping the ammonia levels down because of the diet that I got going into them. And I've noticed it's significantly different overfeeding the pellet side, pellet food, because for some reason, even on the Kalmbach, I was battling a lot of ammonia. So I've reduced that down to just very small amounts added into the mix that I got. And I think we found the balance point. Only other thing
what are you feeding them?
So it's a combination of just a lot of different grains. So with corn, I do whole shell peanuts in there every once in a while. Black oil sunflower seeds, oats, split peas, and what's the other thing? some other like millet and some other smaller seeds that are like kind of mixed in.
Mhm.
And then I add the Kalmbach in just as supplemental too, right? So it's not like
Yeah.
large quantities of it. I don't dump like a whole cup of it in there with it. It's that baseline of food, and then like I add a couple of cubes in there on top of it just to add it in. And then I also do every once in a while add in some like dried fruits and stuff just to try to give them a little bit of a diversity in there too. So and it seems to work. I actually noticed that it actually reduces chewing quite a bit. Because of the whole shell peanuts. Like I was having to toss wood blocks in there like continuously to keep the young ASFs from chewing on the sides of the tub like all the time, because that's all they wanted to do. It seemed like. So I would toss wood blocks in there and they would go at it a little bit, but honestly the peanuts, because they know they're going in for food source, they do phenomenal with those. So
yeah. And another thing we do is like, when we cook, if you got like celery or whatever, the ends you don't eat, chop it off. They love that leafy green end. You know what I mean? Carrots, they love carrots. Anything like that is fresh vegetable. You know, there's certain things they can't have. Like they can't have like iceberg lettuce. You got to go towards the leafy green lettuce, things like that.
They love eggshells.
Like, yeah.
Increase that calcium content, which
Yeah, so I don't supplement anything. I feed Kalmbach 18% to everything. And I was feeding the 23% to the ASFs because it was always, like I said, like they need more protein. And I switched them to the 18% and noticed no difference. If anything, they're probably like the tubs aren't as dirty. So like I feel like the extra protein thing is like, is there something to it? Probably, maybe. But on the 18% with no supplement, because I used to give like a mix of like the oats, sunflower seeds. The local feed store has like a breeder pigeon mix, and that had like the millet and everything. They went crazy for the millet, but I stopped doing that. Didn't notice any difference. Then switched to 18% and didn't notice any difference. If anything, a little bit cleaner. And still having crazy production on them. But then the ones, so that all the rodents are off site. So we don't, in the summer, we'll take like frozen, like peas and carrots and whatever other veggies. And we'll just toss them in there on the warm days, because it's got really good ventilation. So we typically don't have much die off, but obviously it's still warm on the hot days. So we'll take in like frozen stuff and they'll eat those. But the ones at the house, I have like one rack in my garage. That's just like my holding rack for anything extra that after a feeding day. And then every morning I'll make eggs and go take them out there, toss them into them, and they're gone quick. The ASS go crazy for eggshells.
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay. Yeah. Something I might even consider trying, I mean, I'm all for, other added tips, to maybe test and trial some stuff. I've been kind of back and forth on different mixes and trying to find something that, like, once I find it, I'm like, I know that's, I got quality in size retention, and I don't have that aggressive ammonia smell. 'Cause that's a big one for me. I like, they got to smell, there's got to be it's got to be under the threshold. Like if I can smell them like 2 rooms away, we got issues.
I assume you already used the PDZ powder.
No.
And in the bedding. So you go to Tractor Supply for your stuff.
Yep.
They have it's over with the horse stuff.
Okay.
I think it's a white bag, and it used to have like a blue like painted horse on it.
Okay.
I think it's PDZ sweet powder or something, but it's like stall powder for horses.
Okay.
And we were using it before, but like we didn't we got so much ventilation in the barn that it's like not really a concern with the ammonia, but we were using it before just because we saw other people using it. But you would put like just shake some of that powder on the bottom of the tub, and then put your pellets and your flake, and then that PDZ powder is supposed to like it's meant to reduce the ammonia.
Gotcha.
So like kind of soaks it up. So
Gotcha.
look for that PDZ.
Okay. Yeah, I'll check it out. Because
something to try for sure.
You even said something that I don't even do. I don't even put pellets in the bottom. I am like strictly on pine shavings, but I'm changing bedding every 3 days. So I'm like clockwork. So
I did start out doing the pine pellets, but that increased the waste so much. And I carry my trash bags from the house or the garage out to the other garage in the alley. It increased the amount of trash bags I was using because I couldn't lift them or they'd break the bags, and the waste was like doubled. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it soaks up all that pee and they get heavy.
Yep,
they're super freaking heavy.
Yep.
So it was almost 6 to 1, half a dozen the other thing. You know, change them every 3-4 days, or change them every 7 days. And put up with the rest of the heft or the weight of the trash.
Yeah.
You know,
we got our at the barn, the waste management, they'll take like unlimited amount of cans. So we have 5 or 6 like 96 gallon like toter full size trash bins, and then we get like full size trash bags that go over top of those. And so we'll just pull it up right to the barn door and then take the whole tub, scrape it out into there, and then go refill it. And they're heavy, but we can go straight into it. So we're not lifting any bags. All we do is just close the lid and drag it up to the street.
Yeah, as long as it doesn't get tore up on the lift or whatever they have on the back of the truck. Yeah.
Right. Yeah. See, that'd be great, but I don't have that convenience. Now, I will say, for a little while, I was using it in my compost bin outside. I would like toss some of it in my compost bin when like I was like hyper changing, when I was changing like every 2 days. Like I was like, but that was when I had a lot smaller colonies, and I like was like exclusively keeping small colonies. I would just like dump it in my compost bin like crazy. And then I used it last year actually as like fertilizer, and it produced some good food for my rabbits. We'll just leave it at that. Because unfortunately, as much as I'd love to grow a garden and be able to supply some of my own food, I had free range rabbits in my backyard, and they decided, hey, unlimited food source, let's go. Like we're gonna tear up your garden. So yeah, I was feeding rabbits. They were doing really well, and they still are. They overwintered and everything. They're crushing it out there. So
yeah, still living under your shed.
Yeah. I've converted it now. I cut a hole in it so they could go in the shed, and they don't even go in the shed. They still want to be in the burrow underneath. And I'm like, you guys like it is shade, from the sun. You have a heyday in there. Nope, they still want to live underneath. So I'm like, if you guys want to be dirty and gross, that's on you, I guess.
Yeah.
But I have 2 of them that will literally, you walk out in the backyard and they'll walk right up to you and like stand on their hind legs and like touch you and then like want you to pet them. It is great. It is the cutest thing ever. And I'm like, it's like having a dog, but it's a bunny rabbit. So I was like, that's different. Most people can't say that hey, I don't have to mow my backyard. I got rabbits.
Nice.
So
if I didn't have dogs, I'd have a couple of them.
Yeah. I mean, the only problem is that when you have chain link fence, they will absolutely shoot right through it. Like they'll burrow right underneath of it and just be like everywhere, all over the neighborhood. So we have vinyl fence panels, and they're like in the ground about a 1/4 inch. So they don't actually dig underneath of it. They'll dig alongside of it, but they don't ever, shoot underneath. So I'm like, if they get out, I don't shrug my shoulders, hope they come home. But so
yeah. We got Robert in the house.
Oh yeah, check it out. Big Worm showed up. Yeah,
So
you mentioned DG.
We'll go ahead and take a small pause and go ahead and play his ad while he's in here.
Go.
And then when we get back, maybe we'll talk a little more DG.
Okay.
Yeah. There we got Luigi in there. Rosalis
Yeah,
Reptiles.
Luigi, he hopped
Hey, buddy.
in late to the party. That's all right. At least you showed up.
Yeah. Probably was struggling to find it. Everybody keeps going over to your YouTube page. You know?
Yeah.
Because we made that switch to the new page. So
Yeah. So I put a couple adverts out there. Hopefully, hopefully it catches wind. We got, I think, a quarter of the subscribers now as we did on my original page.
nice.
So,
Yeah. We'll have
we're getting there.
Yeah, we'll build it back. It's okay. We went through, what is this, change number 4 for us?
Yeah.
Fourth
So
time that we've evolved.
Struggled with just the Instagram lives, and then it was OBS, which was kind of a nightmare for people that aren't very tech savvy. And then we finally transitioned to the StreamYard, which we're utilizing today. And then when we got partnered with Garrett here, we decided to make a whole YouTube central location for everything. Yes, Anna, I did. We're not going live on our main channel though. But okay, so let's talk a little bit about DG. That's something that I'm lacking in a little bit. I've got some DG pieces.
Yep. Same over
Plan
here.
to get into. Most of them are still growing out. And I know DG Pied is going to be a heavy hitter, and as well as DG Puzzle. Is there any other directions that you're going to be heading or see yourself going? Any interesting incomplete dominance that you want to throw in the mix that you particularly favor?
There's quite a bit this year. Hurricane is in 3 or 4 of my like DG project mails. So 15 clutches or so of Hurricane DG stuff. So Hurricane DG Pieds. I've got small shot, but a shot at Hurricane DG Hypo Clown, and then Super Hurricane DG Hypo Clown. Let's see, some Hurricane True Ghost stuff, Hurricane DG Exanthic. What I always tell people, how I said it shows like seeing pretty adults. Most of my projects are centered either on hypo, DG, or both. And so one of my focuses this year was not wanting to make as many normal looking animals. A lot of the like hypo females or DG females that normally I would run a puzzle double het, whatever, or a clown double het, something to them and try to make, a single incomplete dominant DG double het something. Those females I'm using just to make like really pretty looking hypos or really pretty DGs. The main DG stuff that I kept this last year was DG het puzzles. So I kept probably 12 different combo DG het puzzles. I kept a couple hypo double het DG puzzles. And then I'm doing a lot of stuff this year for Hurricane DG combos. So like OD, I have a OD Hurricane DG hypo that I'm running to a lot of my DG hypo stuff. So like Chocolate Hurricane OD DG hypos, getting Fire into that, getting Leopard into that. And then I'm also putting him to a lot of just like simpler hypo stuff and a lot of simpler DG stuff. So OD Hurricane Black Pastel DG het hypo, Vanilla OD Hurricane hypo het DG. And I'm trying to get more of a female base going for my DG hypo stuff specifically. And then raising up my DG puzzle stuff and then still currently breeding all my DG pied stuff. So I've got DG like spread out pretty well across the room. The first like waves of holdbacks that I kept were mostly DG stuff. And then this last year was kind of split between DG as a base and hypo as a base, and then kind of mixing in the clown, puzzle, and pied and exantic with those.
Yeah, I know I took one out of your holdback rack last year.
Yeah. Yep. Can't keep them all, right?
Right. Yeah. I like the idea of the DG pied stuff, and even to taking the hypo direction. That's a whole nother thing to bring into it. So that's
So we'll let you get a peek at her as a breed ready female.
Oh, nice. She grew well for you.
Oh yeah, she loves the ASFs. She's got the upgrade to the 5540.
Nice. Yeah, she looks good.
And, she will be breeding this coming season, probably late this season actually.
What are you going to put to her?
So I've got a pied head hypo.
Mhm.
And the next season I've got some DG stuff planned for her as well. So
Nice. The chocolate pied stuff looks really good.
yeah. I really enjoy the chocolate pied stuff. And then layer in, hopefully she'll prove at DG. I know she'll do some hypo chocolate pieds for me.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
So I figured you'd like to take a look at her anyway. And that
It's always cool seeing animals that you produce that like are doing well for people, because you sell so many of them that you never really get to see. And then like my favorite is I'll get like a random like text or a message on Instagram, and it's just like a snake that I produced 3 or 4 years ago sitting on eggs. That it's so cool to see that, because like I get to see it, but it's like some of them I don't want to sell, and when I do sell them, it's cool to be able to like see that they do well.
Yep. So that Sapphire girl's doing wonderfully as well.
Nice.
So she's actually definitely getting paired later season this year. I want about another 100 grams on her, and I'm averaging somewhere around 80 to 100 grams a month on the grow outs, which is phenomenal. And I'm not like power feeding or anything like that. I'm still feeding what they're comfortable with, waiting for defecation, give them a few days, and then feed again. So it's kind of, there's no real set feeding day here. I'm feeding part of the collection because they've already eliminated waste, and then later on another part of the collection. So it's keeps me busy.
Yeah,
sure.
My feeding schedule, like I said, I do Thursdays at the rodent barn, and then I bring everything home with me, and then I'll feed everything on Thursdays, and then I'll normally bring more than I know that I need, and I'll keep them out in the garage, because the females, once they hit like that 20 to 25 millimeter range, when they go off food and they're not wanting a big meal, I'll put another lock on them at that point, and then they'll either want to eat a bigger meal and take a little bit more time to grow, but a lot of them around that 25 millimeter range will not take like a Norwegian rat, but they will take 5-6 small ASFs spread out over the course of a couple days. So females that I know are past that 20 millimeter, as soon as they have, so like I have the ID tags, and then if they don't eat, I flip it upside down, put it on the far left above the tub. And then when they don't eat 2 weeks in a row, it goes in the middle, but still upside down. 3 weeks in a row is over to the far right. Once it hits that and they're not eating anymore, but I know that they're still building, then I switch them over to like a small ASF, and 9 times out of 10, they'll take those for a couple weeks, and then they'll like really progress and get closer to that ovulation. And I don't know that it does mean the difference in a bigger clutch, but if they have that little bit of extra calories, that might mean the difference between one more good egg. So I give them the opportunity to, at least.
also it gives them nutrients throughout up to laying, and then I've found the ones that eat later in the progression of things tend to get on food a lot faster afterward. I mean, that's just kind of what I'm picking up on over here as well. It seems like anyway that I've struggled less getting them on food than if they come off food for the last 2 months or whatever and won't eat anything. Those are the ones that usually kind of take a little bit of finesse to get back on track.
Okay. Yeah, I haven't really put any much thought on that, but I mean, it makes sense. I think my longest holdout that I had this last season was probably 3 or 4 weeks. I got lucky with females. They just the next feeding they'd always take, but that's obviously not always the case.
Are you more of a live feeder to your breeders, or you go frozen thawed, fresh kill? Wait, like what's your?
I feed live to all of the like my stuff. So like this room all gets live. Now this baby rack I'll get, like the holdback rack I'll get frozen thawed. But the baby room is on the other side, and all of those I'll get on the frozen thawed. Just because I do so many shows, and a lot of times somebody's just wanting one that to have as a pet, and they're 9 times out of 10 they're going to feed frozen thawed. Right. So I have them on that already. Plus it's easy to like feed frozen thawed whenever I want, because I don't want to have to go drive 15 minutes, pick up rodents, come back, feed them off. And if I'm just like I could go for another like feeding for this rack or something, then I have an extra incubator, and I just pop them in there at 100 degrees and then feed them off that way. But I've tried giving frozen thawed to some of the adults, and I used to feed mainly frozen thawed when I had like 20 something adults, but it ended up taking too much time. And now that I have like the number that I do now, it's much easier to do live. Plus it saves me from having to buy CO2 so often to freeze my own stuff off.
Yep. Gotcha. That makes sense. That is a fair assessment. You scale up to a certain level, and then it's like, hey, you got to count every second. Every second counts, and as you progress through. So, something that should only take you, 3 hours, if you were doing frozen thawed, might take you 6.5, type. So time management's big. For sure. So
yeah, especially right now, it's finding what works the best, because I like just being down here and hanging out. But if I'm down here just hanging out, then that's time that I'm not spending with my family, and that's more valuable to me than just meandering around down here. So I want to make sure everything's in tip-top shape, and then I'm out.
Yep. That's awesome. That you have that balance. You're like, I'm not shortchanging anybody. You're still doing your due diligence, making sure all your snakes are taken care of. They're all in good health. Everything's, managed, but you're finding that, like you said, finding the balance, and you seem like you're doing pretty well at it, honestly, which is awesome.
Yeah. Like this is my life. Like I love doing this, but it's not everything. Like I can't do this for 12, 15 hours a day, even though it's like, we're always doing it on our phone, but you can't be down here and not living in other parts of your life.
Right.
Yep. And I think it's awesome too that you got to spend so much time with your daughter there, right when you first begun. I mean, that to me, well, not only is it super, super beneficial for your daughter because it helps in developmental and stuff like that. Mm-hmm. But it's good that you get to create that bond and all that, and then also doing what you love to do with the snakes. That's phenomenal, man.
Yeah. I'm very grateful.
Yeah. That's awesome. Yeah, we're it'd be a dream to get to that level, to be able to wake up in the morning, say, hey, I'm going to go to my snake room. I'm going to check in. I'm going to do this, do that, do a couple videos real quick, post them, check a couple emails, respond, do this, and then just be able to kind of have that extra time to be able to, not miss a volleyball practice or not miss, a school recital. Make sure you get to pick them up from school every day, things like that. I would just be over the moon if I could do that more often. Even with mine, you know, and I split the week. I get half the week with them, and I would give anything to have more time. You know, as they get older, you get less and less, and it's like, oh my goodness, like what I wouldn't give to have you guys back at home all day long so that we could just sit and play and paint pictures in the living room and everything like that. So every once in a while I'll catch them on a weekend and they'll be like, I'm bored. And I'm like, we're going to go paint canvases in the living room. Let's do that. That sounds like fun.
Yeah. Having that time, that family time is definitely important to me. It's like right now that I have the 2 days a week that my mom will watch her, but it's the plan really for me is to get to a scale where once she starts school and I have the school days, that chunk of a couple hours a day, anything that I can't get done outside of that hours, like if it's like too much time commitment to manage, I'm cutting back. Because if I like once she started school, the school hours are my working hours, and then anything beyond that, I'm not in this room. So like if I need to cut down at that point, I'll cut down. But that's why I've been so like hold back focus, is because like I'm keeping these, 40 females now, and in 4 years when all of them are, up to size and breeding well, I'll be close to being able to have that extra time in my schedule. And even if I don't breed them until they're 5 years old, I'll have them ready to go once I have that time added to my schedule. But I'm not going to give up my time now to forfeit family time.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
That's
absolutely. Awesome. Well, it's a very important to stay family focused, because, families, especially, you got the wife and the kids and stuff, and that's kind of what allows you to do the things you love. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Taking care of the family, making sure they're squared away so you can have a little bit of free time for yourself. And, that's, people who work a day job away from the house, a lot of times, I don't want to say take it for granted, but they don't realize how much work takes them away from home life. It's kind of hard. I started out as an early adult as a truck driver, you know what I mean? So I was away for 72 hours at least before I was home for 32,
Right.
Come home for 32 hours after going over the road. It took me a little bit to catch up on sleep, and then it was, absolute balls to the wall catching up with family and stuff.
Yeah.
So being away for that long, it made it a little more concrete for me when I decided to step away from driving a semi to working a normal home every night type of job.
Mm-hmm.
Work is not everything. And even though this is a hobby you enjoy, it's work now as
Mm-hmm.
well.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I get you. And I'm personally, I'm proud of you. I see what you're doing. I understand what kind of work it takes to get there. And I think you're doing a phenomenal job so far, for sure.
I appreciate that, man.
Yep. Definitely. I know that we've maybe interacted passively at Sin City and things like that. I've seen you quite a few times, and you've popped into our chat and everything like that. But just in the amount that I've seen, observed, and kind of like paid attention to of everything, it's definitely something to be, pound your chest a little bit, saying, "Hey, I did this." You worked hard, and it's a lot to be proud of. So definitely can, stand with your head held high, know that you've achieved something that fits your life the way you would have hoped. Now you get to go to work, but it's work, but it's something that you want to be doing, right? Like
Right.
A lot of people, they have that day job and it's not what they want to be doing for forever. I stand on a hill and will die on the hill that I can't wait to the day that I get to own a zoo and have a giraffe living in my backyard. I tell everybody that. I was like, I can't wait for the day that I get to go out on the back porch and look over like a line of trees and be like, hey, Jeffrey, how you doing, buddy? Like, I'd be in heaven. I would never have to work ever. I would never feel like I'm working ever in my life, and getting to share that experience with other people. That'd be the dream. And to get to that level would be phenomenal. So to see someone, set forth a dream, set forth a goal, and actually work towards it and actually get closer to achieving it, it just proves that, through hard work and through determination and consistency, you will see something happen. So I just want to say thank you for being that example for a lot of people. So
I appreciate the kind words, man. Yeah, that's not something you really like think about as you're doing it. It's like, like times like this, but also just like if I'm like coming down, and most of the time when I'm coming downstairs, I'll be like, all right, time to work. And it's like, even if I'm scrubbing tubs for 3 hours, like it's still something I like being down here and doing. But sometimes when you come down and you're like not in a mind state to like work, and then you just kind of look around, be like, damn, this is sick that I get to do this. And like I feel like motivation is fleeting and it comes in waves, but coming down to something that you're proud of from like building from the ground up is a constant motivator.
Yeah. 100%. 100%.
Yeah. That said perfectly. I mean, at the end of the day, it's said perfectly.
Yeah.
Somebody that can take, an ideal and say, hey, I'm going to start working on it, and just see that, like you said, see that dream come to fruition and see it keep growing, because you're nowhere close to saying that you're done, right? You're not like, hey, I've met my mark. I'm good right where I'm at. You're still pushing for more, right? So you still have that drive and that motivation that started you out. So to see that, like, hey, you're still very hungry and still very, you know your limitations. When you like, hey, this is too much. I've pushed too far. So you have that level of checks and balances with yourself. And from what I've heard from a lot of, entrepreneurs and people who do, start working for themselves, a lot of what they say is that you need to be in tune, like in tune with your brain, in tune with your mindset, in tune with your time, everything from top to bottom. What's going in, what's coming out. You have that stuff locked down. Would you attest to that being very true, of just having everything just very, locked in right here? Or do you have days where it's like, hey, I'm not, you're like everything's doing great, and I'm just kind of.
I mean, you have days like that. I mean, it's a balance where it's like, there's some days where I come down and be like, all right, so I cleaned and watered yesterday. They ate 3 days ago. Everybody's good. And I'm just kind of like looking for something to do. But there's a difference between like doing the bare minimum and being in tune. Like, it's not like just mental with this. It's physical too, because it's like, right. Oh, I don't want to go clean tubs. I don't want to go refill water. It's just going to take me forever. Like, shut up. This is what you do. You're lucky to be able to get to do this. So you have to be able to like zone in when you're not in the mood. But if you like, I don't know, like the like locked in type mindset, I feel like is like cool on one hand, because like it takes being locked in, because you got to know the market. You got to know what's going on, like show wise. You got to know like what every female is individually doing at any time. You got to know who needs a lock. You got to know who's not eating. You got to know, like, there's so many things that you have to keep like a mental checklist of, but it's also just doing grunt work. Like, yeah, I'm scrubbing tubs. I'm cleaning thousands of rats every week. It's like, you got to be able to kind of like separate when the hobby side of it. It's like, yeah, it's still work, but if you have like a small manageable it breaks it up so much. But when it's like my cleaning day, it's like if I don't feel like cleaning for 4 hours straight, doesn't matter. It's got to be done anyway. So you're either going to do it or you're going to complain about it and everything's going to be falling behind. And when you're working with live animals, you can't let that stuff slide. Like you don't get a day behind, because then you're not want to go down the next day, because now you got 2 days worth of work that you need to get caught up on. And like it's kind of been like a balance, because with my Tuesday being like my main snake work day, that's my like when I'll do like deep cleans and all the waters. But I'm still down here every day doing deep cleans and changing waters. And there are some people where it's like they'll clean them once every week, once every 2 weeks, and then they're gone. And their stuff is, living, but it's not being well kept. And when you're working with live animals, if stuff's not well kept, you shouldn't be in it.
Right. Absolutely. And it shows as well, because the people who get animals from you pick up on that.
Yeah.
100% they do. There is a big difference between an animal that arrives to you that is well fed and continues to eat well and is a very good shape, and one that's been maintenance fed, or let's go even worse than that. Maybe it's got like little blisters on its belly because it's been laying in dirty tubs or something, or borderline scale rot or something to that effect. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Stuff like that shows very well. It does.
Yep. And it's just a poor reflection on you as a keeper, a business, and just personally. Like if you can like mentally be okay with your animals being in piss poor conditions, no friend of mine.
Right. Absolutely. Yeah. And I can't think of a single day that I don't come in here and crack open a bunch of tubs, and I'm spot checking through everything throughout the week, all week.
I fed on my lunch break today.
Yeah,
Literally took my lunch break and came through, because like I had some frozen thawed stuff, some like larger stuff that I had to get into some of the larger females. And I'm like, I sat it out late last night and it was not ready to go come morning. And I'm like, oh no. I was like, well, you better be glad I got to come home for lunch. It's like, he's just glad that I don't have to wait till the end of the day, because if I would have had to wait till the end of the day, I would have had to been late to the podcast, because they had to get I feed on Sundays typically, and usually they're like clockwork. Everything that's young, every Sunday, just crush, and then just cycle, and I'm cycling them, and a lot of the smaller stuff is on a more frequent basis, but like stuff that's in the 3 to 4 range, they push out to that 5 to 7 day range a lot more, and they tend to do a lot better on that 5 to 7 range for the slightly larger meals. That's just what works for me. I know other people might have some controversy on that. They're like, nope, not until they hit 800-900, then you can start stretching them out a little bit more. But 3, 4, 5 range,
they're ball pythons. They don't be hammered. Like people will because my babies, I'll feed Carl, like you said, like 3 to 5 days. I'll do that for their first like 10 meals or so, and then they go to once a week. They get fed on Thursdays, and then people that buy them, if they're 250 grams and up, if they want to feed every other week, like a good size prey that leaves a lump in them, that's all they need. If it like people get so worried about hammering them with food, like we know how active these snakes are. Yeah, they move around, but they're not burning a whole lot of calories. If you give them a good size meal every 2 weeks, they're fine. Now I keep everything on a weekly schedule because it's easier for me, and a lot of the stuff is going to be breeding, so like it's going to need that extra calories. And what I'll do whenever I have a show, so like I have Indy this weekend, and I'm going to leave. We were going to leave Friday, but I'm going to leave Saturday morning. So I'll pack snakes up probably late Friday night or maybe early Saturday morning, depending. But but I'm not feeding that Thursday right before I go. I will. And so last week, instead of on Thursday, I stretched them out and fed them on either Saturday or Sunday, so that they're still getting that feeding, but I'm not doubling them up on feeding, so that they're digesting a ton of stuff. And then probably not all of them have gone to the bathroom before we go to the show, and then they're off heat for 2 or 3 days. So I'll stretch them out on times whenever I have an upcoming show and feed on that weekend instead. Or if I have like 2 weeks off, I'll add in a third feeding in between there and still give them like a week to, ideally like a week to 10 days before I go to a show. But we were going to go up on Friday. You guys know Billy Strings?
Yeah.
So he was playing in Fishers, Indiana, close to there on Friday night. And so we extended our Airbnb for one night before. We were going to go up Saturday originally, but we were like, we'll go up Friday. We'll go to the Billy Strings concert after we set up. It'll be fun. And then today, article came out. I don't know if it was last night or the night before, but he had a show. And in between his main show and the encore, he was backstage waiting to go back out, broke his leg doing a skateboard trick backstage. So they canceled that. So now we're just going to roll in Saturday morning and save that little bit of money on an Airbnb and having to buy dinner and all that. But that 2-day show, Carl, you went to the first one, right?
Yeah.
What are your thoughts on, I guess, one, that show compared to the regular 1-day show, but then also that show compared to like the big regional shows, say Tinley and all the other ones?
Personal opinion, and this is nothing against the show organizers or any of that, but I think the 2-day show is going to be more pet quality stuff you have on your table, the better you're going to do, I think.
Why?
I think there's just more pet keepers in and out.
Yeah,
You know?
there's a lot more traffic.
I think
with that show in particular, because of it being location's everything, right? So Indy is notorious for having a lot of pet people come through the door. And that used to be called what Colubrid Fest used to. In years past, the 2-day event was always called Colubrid Fest. So they were Colubrid centric. Now it's kind of flip-flop. Now it's not called that. Because last year it was Colubrid Fest. It was a 2-day event.
Did they have that?
Yeah.
Was that in Indy or was that in Fort Wayne?
No, I was in Indy. That was
okay.
That was Indy.
Yeah, that was the Indy through ARS. And if you notice when you go up there,
That's Show Me. The Show Me does the Colubrid Fest.
Yeah, they have a Colubrid Fest as well.
Yeah. So
now, I don't know that these two are connected at all.
Right.
The Colubrid Fest that happened in Indy.
Right.
I do remember getting the flyer.
It could be because last year when they had the flyer come out, it said Colubrid Fest 2025 on it. It was the only 2-day event that they had last year.
So I know Show Me's is bringing the Colubrid Fest back or talking about it because they had quit for a while.
And that could be they just chose India as the location last year. Could have been. I don't know, but I know that a lot of what you get there, you get a lot of colubrids in there. A lot of colubrids in there, from what I saw. You got your heavy hitter ball python people, that you see regularly when you go to the 1-day shows. But overall, if I had a preference, honestly, Cincinnati's is.
Yeah. Now
it's leaning my favor more.
When I said more pet quality stuff, I think the first 2-day show had a lot to do with where all the bigger shows lined up, because you got a lot of people saving money to go to Tinley, and you got a lot of people saving money to go to another NARBC or somewhere larger venue. You know what I mean? And then I know the 2-day shows pull people in, I know the line was really huge when I went to Indy last, but to me it seems like you get a little more in and out at say Sin City. You know what I mean? Like I think I see more actions, more transactions anyway.
Okay. Yeah. I'm curious to see how this one goes, because the last time it so I had done the indie show like kind of on and off, and then um the last 2 day show last year I did well. I was set up with Ken, and I think he sold a couple, but I sold 22 snakes that weekend, and I'm like, this is crazy. And I had always talked to Brian about like doing advertising. What'd you say?
I was responding to Robert here. He's got a clutch he wants to pull with us towards the end of the show.
Okay. But the what was it? Well, regardless, this 2 day show compared to the 1 day show just has like the big show feel. Like it's like really nice that because they got the other hall. Like the lighting is great in there. It's like super clean, doesn't feel like an ag building. And it just kind of like, I know what I was saying. I always talk to Brian about like doing like advertising. He's like, everybody knows we're here. But then he was putting up billboards and putting out all the ads for the last 2 day show. And I probably had 20 people that were like, there's a show here I've never even known about. Like one guy was like, I've lived here for 15 years and never knew there was a reptile show. And it kind of like, it goes to show that when you have a show that you're trying to build or push out, it's going to take some advertising money to put it out there, because people that are in our circles, we know what shows are going on. But for all the potential pet buyers, they have to see that there is a show going on and they have to hear about it somehow. And word of mouth travels only so far in our circle before it like gets out. So I'm happy to see that they're doing a lot of the advertising, the billboards and all the ads and everything, because Indy is such a nice like central location to a lot of places that even if he just keeps it as the once a year 2 day show, that I think could have a huge draw as it keeps going on.
Yeah, I think the more they put into it, the more they're going to get out of it, is what I think.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I mean that's just all there is, because not everybody's on Facebook every day. Not everybody's on Instagram every day. And then the caveat to that, not everybody runs in the same circles that we do, talks to the same people.
Yep.
I've got a whiteboard over here with almost all the shows within a 4-hour drive from my front door, just because I'm looking at different show locations. Where am I going to start setting up when I start vending all the time? Things like that. Not everybody's got that. Not everybody's like poured in the research. A lot of people you're going to see, oh, well, there's a billboard. I think I'll do that this weekend. That's cool.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Just
I will say, just make sure that you get a good parking spot.
Yeah.
Just make sure you get a good.
Yeah.
Yeah. If you have to park like on one of those like way down yonders, like on one of the camping site areas and stuff.
Oh God, yeah.
You got to foot it. But that's I made the mistake last month when I went to the indie show. I rolled in late, right? So I didn't roll in right when they first opened. I came in, it was like 12:30, 1 o'clock. I wasn't rushing to get there. I was like, okay,
it was cold that morning too.
Yeah, and see, exactly. And I was like, I'm not traveling in the cold. I didn't want to deal with it. I was like, I'll roll in a little bit later in the day. It'll be okay. And I take my kids usually because it's a Sunday event. We get to do it together. They always like looking at the lizards and bearded dragons and turtles and all that kind of stuff. And I have enough of those, right? I have plenty of that stuff in other areas of the house. But it was busy. It was just there were so many people in there, and right around lunchtime, it always seems to really kind of pick up from what I've noticed. And I mean, that's even to say at Sin City, you get your initial wave of people who know about it. They know about it, right? And then they're like, you get that other influx of people who are kind of maybe just in the area doing other things, maybe shopping or, having lunch or something like that. And they're like, I wonder what that is. Maybe that's something we can do. And then it draws them right in. And then you have that big influx of new customers that just kind of roll through the door. Had no idea. And they do so much. They cover so many bases, right? You have the 3D printer guys, you have the people who do some plants, you have some, big time suppliers for rodents and some other, different vendors who do more than just have animals. So when you think of it like that, it's like, this is the spot to be if I'm looking for, say a new heat lamp, or I need some bedding, that I can't just regularly get from my local pet shop. Because they want to buy a specific brand or things like that. It's very targeted market, but it also you can go from one end to the other and pick up everything you need just to take care of that animal that you bought that same day, kind of thing, which is awesome.
Yeah. I'm lucky that Cincy is my local show. That's like 25 minutes from us.
Yeah.
It's always been a solid show for us. I think I started doing that one like 2022. And then I only had so many clutches. So I would only go for a couple months at a time and then not have anything. And then the next season go for a couple months at a time and then run out. But now I'm a staple, and I've got my same spot out there. And then they're doing another 2-day show in September. So
snap.
Those are fun.
That'll be coming off of a Daytona high, right?
Yeah.
When is Daytona? Late August?
August, yeah, like August 13th through the 15th.
Okay, right after Steer.
Yep. I told myself I'm doing it. I already got the vacation booked and planned. It's happening. I'll be in Daytona this year.
Nice. Have you been to it before?
Never been to Daytona. I told myself I'm going to try to venture a little bit further out to see what like big scale shows look like, like NARBC. I would love to get to a Tinley show. Haven't made it to a Tinley show. Chicago's not that far away.
Yeah.
Probably should. I just haven't. So I was like, okay, I go to Daytona all the time for like family vacation and everything like that. I know the area. I'm familiar enough to where I'm not going to be too uncomfortable. It'll just be that next level of community that I already am like kind of very much so already a part of. So I'll get to interact with a lot of other people who you don't get to see, who you see in the chat, who you get to see, maybe only once a year at the big shows or something like that. So I think it'll be a good time.
Yeah. I'd like to get down to Daytona, but I've never been to that one. I really want to go to Pomona, to the Super Show.
And I've heard that one before. I've heard that.
One.
Yeah, I've heard the location before. I haven't.
Huge.
And everybody says it's awesome.
I really like St. Louis in ARBC. I think that was a very good show. I got to sit back behind the vendor's table helping Jody out, Ammo Exantics, and I could see myself making that trip and vending that show. I enjoyed the setup. The people were great.
Did you stay at that hotel?
No, I did not stay at that hotel. We stayed like 5 minutes away across the river.
Okay. Yeah.
And it was nice. Like the hotel we were in was nice. And it was close enough to where the little bit of a drive we had to make in the morning was nothing. Right.
That venue. So I did the I don't know. I don't think I did the first St. Louis, but I think I did the 2 after that. And I never really made enough to like warrant the trip, just of how expensive tables are and then everything that goes with it. But for being only like 4.5, 5 hours away, I kept trying it. But like for me, if that were a like better show attendance wise, it would be my favorite show, because the venue is super nice. That hotel is incredible. Like it's so cool. And then the hangout is great, because like at Tinley, you can hang out at the bar, but it's super loud. At Sear, there's the upstairs like open patio lounge skytop bar type thing, which is a great hangout. But at St. Louis, it's I don't know if you went into like the hotel lobby, but it's like all the rooms surround it in like a tower, and at the bottom it's just a ton of seating with like a bar and a restaurant, and everybody just like floods into there and just hangs out all night. And like for the social aspect, St. Louis was phenomenal. But Tinley, John, that what I did, because Tinley's like 5 hours from me, before I started setting up, I would go either Friday night and stay Friday night and then just be there Saturday. But I would leave at like 2 or 3 a.m. on Saturday and get there for VIP Saturday and stay most of the day Saturday. And then I'm home at 9 o'clock. So I just made like one long day of it, because you can waste time in Tinley, just like, you know, meandering about, and like you see somebody that you've seen online for forever and you're going to talk to them for 45 minutes and you're not going to pass that up.
Absolutely.
Obviously.
Right.
You can spend a whole day and only see half of Tinley. But if you're going there with like specific purchases in mind, or you just want to like just see everything, one full day at Tinley, get there for VIP Saturday, you can see all the show and like still get everything from it and not have to make a $1,000 weekend out of it.
Okay.
Yeah.
Because that was my thing. It's like Tinley's cool to go to, and I've been to like all of them except for one for like the last 5 years. But man, it's expensive. So like if I'm not setting up, I'm probably just doing like just Friday night. I'll go up, hang out, have dinner with a couple people Friday night, and I'll stay Friday night, be at the show Saturday, probably hang out and go to dinner Saturday, and then I'll just leave at 9 p.m. Saturday and get home and have my Sunday. Because you guys know with the animals, like you're gone 3 days and you're like, I got to go get caught up.
Yeah, it shows. Yeah. You get home, you're like, what happened? Yeah.
So I'm going to go ahead and pop Robert up here in stage. We played his ad earlier. He's one of the show sponsors. He's got a clutch of eggs just laid, and he's going to pull them and show them off a little bit.
What's up, guys?
How you doing, Robert?
Going.
Doing great. I've been enjoying the show, and I went to go took my daughter, and like, let's go check on this female real quick, because I knew she was close, and then we opened the tub and realized she was curled up on a whole clutch of eggs. So I was like, man, it might be cool if we come and we take him out and kind of do all that. I know we all love that kind of stuff.
Absolutely.
Oh yeah. Good time.
So I won't take up too much of your time, but
you're good. You're good.
So I'll go ahead and blow you up. You get her out here, and then let you talk about her. Tell her what the pairing was and all that.
Yeah, 100%. So I'm gonna let my daughter film. I'm gonna try to turn this camera around if I can. Let's see. Maybe. Let's see. If I turn it around, hopefully it won't kick me off. Nope, that's the wrong button. Back. Let's see.
There it goes.
Okay, you can see me? Okay. So what we have here is a pastel pied female. She's big female. And I bred her to a pied, hypo-pied male. So I'm trying to get a little more hypo DG stuff in my collection. So this is the male, visual hypo-pied, beautiful male. And this is her second clutch. She had a 9-egg clutch for us last year. So let's see how she did this year. So let's see. Hopefully.
Is she done?
She looks like it. Not near as big of a clutch this year.
I'll leave one egg off.
Okay. Let's see if she's empty though.
She's skinny.
I think she might. I think she's pretty much sure she's done. All right. So we got what there? 4, 7 eggs?
Yeah.
Not bad.
Yeah. And they all look pretty healthy.
Yeah, they all look
That's
great. So, this clutch was, it's not our most exciting clutch this year, but like I said, we're trying to get some more hypo stuff in the collection. So, to have a couple, these will all be visually pied and have some het hypos. We can start making some visual hypo pod stuff. But, all right, let's see. Let's get the egg basket out. So I know everybody does things differently. Does some people use egg trays? I just use vermiculite, press and seal, and I put a little temperature gauge in there just to make sure I have more than one temperature reading.
Yeah. So Matt actually does things slightly different. He incubates directly on cypress mulch.
There you go.
Interesting.
That's one less bag of something I have to have on hand.
Yeah.
Yeah. Right.
So last year I tried one of my clutches. Once we got to day, like I think it was 56. Like when I was about to cut, I put everything on cypress so that they could come out and not get the vermiculite all over them.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's what I hated about the vermiculite is how it stuck to them.
It gets on everything. It gets all over them.
Yeah,
It's
I do the cypress mulch, and then I was measuring it before, but I basically just put like an inch or two of cypress at the bottom, and I think it was like 8 ounces of water. But I eyeball it now. I just pour enough water over the bedding that when after I mix it in, if I tilt it to one corner, I want it to like pull up just a little bit, and then press and seal, and they hatch day 58 just the same as every other one. So I've done that the last 2 seasons, and cypress is great because people will use like Repti-chip, but if like any type of like contaminant gets in there, Repti-chip will mold. But cypress does not mold. It can't mold.
Perfect. Yeah.
I'm gonna have to send you a flashlight, Big Worm.
Do what?
He's got flashlights.
I'm gonna have to send you a flashlight.
I got plenty of flashlights, but baby girl brought me her phone real quick. That's gonna have to work today.
Yeah.
I honestly was not prepared tonight for this. I knew it was coming, but I mean, I had the egg.
Now, do you typically peel each one of them so you can candle and mark tops?
Yeah. So this
See, I don't peel anything unless it touches the side of a tub,
Right.
or if it's already rolled loose.
Gotcha.
Yeah. See, I have incubated them all just like they are, which I might, since these are all laying nice and pretty flat, I might just keep them all together. And they all look great. All have really nice veins. So
Yeah, I don't separate any of the eggs unless they're too tall for the egg tub. Then I'll peel the ones off top. But I don't candle. I don't rotate for embryo. Like, even if they got one kicked loose, if you can take an egg with embryo, you can put it upside down and it'll hatch.
Yeah, exactly.
Unless it's been with the mom for a little bit and that embryo is attached, then I would probably do that. But if I catch a clutch on the day that it's laid, I don't candle or anything.
Yeah.
Nice.
Gotcha.
And the same thing with people that are worried about like mold, because like if an egg goes bad in the center of like a cluster of eggs, people I feel like one of the reasons I see why people separate the eggs is that they can pull that out. A good egg will not mold even if it's attached. Like I've had eggs that are in the center of a cluster that go bad and they mold, and it unless there's a problem with another egg that's touching it, it will not spread. So that's something to like keep in mind. You don't need to worry about. What I'll typically do is wait until they're like pipping, and then I'll peel them off and get that moldy one out of there. That way the fresh baby doesn't crawl over top of it.
Yeah, I still candle because I'm nosy.
Yeah.
I just want to look for good veins, but I don't typically separate anything. And like you said, if it's too tall or if they're too wide and they don't fit in the egg box.
Yeah.
Yeah. So now what I'll usually do is I'll just take this bedding. I know a lot of people won't even get rid of all of it, but I'm going to get rid of this bedding. I'll just clean this tub up. I actually have another tub, and then I've got her soaking right now, and yeah, I'll give her some time, and then within, I don't know, I'll say a week, I'll try to offer her food. I know sometimes people like to wait longer than that, but I've had females go right back on food, no problem.
Yeah, I usually don't even wait that. If I wait anything, it's the next day.
Yeah.
I'll offer them a very small meal, and they usually take.
Yep. Well, I appreciate y'all letting me jump on real quick.
Yeah, we appreciate having you.
Yeah, that was awesome. That was awesome.
Yeah. Well, I'm gonna let y'all get back to it. Thank you again, and
Yep.
I'm gonna keep watching the show.
Yeah. Thanks for
Have a
the
good night,
support,
man.
big one.
Yeah. Thanks. Bye.
Awesome guy.
That was
If you
cool.
ever, he does DG stuff pretty well too. I mean, he's very selective. So he does selective breedings with intent to really isolate certain projects that he wants to touch. So
Okay, nice.
There's your
Familiar.
Ultramil man right there, DG Ultramil, and he's got TSK Xanthic and VPI, even though he doesn't like to claim that.
listen, DG Ultramel. Yes.
Yeah. So
Yes.
so his company name is Gotham City Balls. He's from the Nashville area.
Yeah.
Okay.
He's on his personal page, so he didn't pop up as Gotham City, but he goes by Batman. He's pretty cool, dude. Yeah. How did those did you actually get those breeding cards printed out?
Yeah.
I sent him the format for them. I don't know if he got them printed out or not. So
Yeah, I'd be interested. I'd like to see them after he gets them up and rolling.
yeah. I did. I sent him both proofs and asked him. I was like, "Do you need me to change anything? Let me know. Let me know."
Yeah.
I can go in and edit and make changes to anything that
So
anybody needs. So.
Let me grab mine real quick. Actually. So
Awesome.
mine look a little different than what John's do. And these are fully editable and interchangeable.
Yep.
But see, I'll blow myself up, show you what they're about, Matt. So basically, we've got clutch ID, all the information that you would want as a breeder, pretty much. I got sire, dame, whatever project it's in, pairing dates, ovulation date, pre-lay shed date, lay date, number of eggs, how many slugs, hatch date, hatchling ID. And then on the back, after I've got all that information that I utilize while I've got the clutch in my possession, I've also got feeding chart here. So
Okay.
this kind of serves as a tool for myself to keep track of things, but it'll also go with the hatchling to the customer. Whoever buys it will have what they've been doing in my care up until a certain point. But that's just something we kind of implemented. I implemented it pretty much right away because I already had a clutch on the ground by the time we came up with these.
Yep. And I have not implemented mine yet because I don't have any clutches on the ground. So it'll happen as soon as mine roll through. But mine's a little different. It's more of like a kind of a subtle brand marketing as well. So front is more just a really awesome image. And then the back is more your traditional, what you'd see as like a birth certificate for your snake. It gives you the clutch, was it clutch ID? Yeah, clutch ID, sire, dame that it came from, morph, hatch date, and then the weight that it's going to be leaving your care, right? So your final weight will go here. All your updated weights and any type of like food type and everything like that will be listed in the notes here. So every time you get a weight update, you'll record that so that way they can track it. But yeah, date, food type, and then whether they took or not. And then obviously any additional notes that you might add, whether it would be, hey, this was an assist feed because of, this snake being failure to thrive or something like that, or things like that. You can just list all that information, kind of be as transparent as possible.
Yeah, that's cool. Customers will like that.
Yeah. Well, every time I've ever sold a snake to a pet person, they always ask, "Well, what do we eat? When was the last time he ate?
Yeah.
How did he start out? What is he wet?" All these questions can be answered on this piece of paper, and it's not requiring somebody to invest in something like Husbandry Pro or whatever to scan a QR code to translate all that information.
Hmm.
It's just another avenue to pass that information on.
Yeah.
And I utilize mine as a tool to keep track of things myself. So
Right.
it's a dual purpose for me. I'm big on taking notes and writing things down because if I don't, it don't stick up here.
Listen, we did already have that conversation. I do not remember morphs to save my life. I buy snakes and I forget. I'm like, I don't even remember what that was. Just plain and simple. Just don't.
I know I had a plan for that.
Yes. I was like, I knew I bought that for a reason. I wonder what that reason was. But Val, we don't give out like a general information card. Like what do you mean, like general care information on a ball python?
So
Like
that
like
is
kind of like a
something
how-to keeper type pamphlet, like they do at the
that
pet
is
stores.
something the wife is actually putting together for us. We will have something, basic parameters and suggestion of enclosure setup.
Nice.
We will start handing out like at shows and things like that for people that purchase from us.
That's
Yeah.
good.
I don't print anything out, but I've got a care guide saved on my phone. Whenever somebody's buying one, if they need a care guide, I'll just email it to them while we're there, and it's comprehensive enough to where it's like it saves them from having to ask me 5 different questions after the fact if they've got questions on something, because it already runs through everything and they don't have to feel like they're, obviously it's not bothering me, but some people are less apt to reach out because they think they might be bothering you. So having everything.
Yeah, that's a good idea as well. Some people don't like having the piece of paper to look around or whatever, and they might want a digital copy. That's a good avenue.
Yeah, just save it on your phone. That way you've got it.
Yeah. I mean, with the era of technology going the way it is, it makes sense. Everybody wants a digital copy. They want to be able to just go boop. Okay, I got it. We're good. So, I mean, maybe something like that, like a little QR code says, hey, care guide. Take a.
Yeah. And you can add, just like Val said, you can have a QR code. One QR code can take you to all your social medias, all your storefronts. You can have a place where a care guide is uploaded there. Multiple different things right there, all in one package, which is pretty savvy.
Yep. That's awesome. Okay, well, Carl, we hit that 2-hour mark, and I know our guest, he has rules that he sets forth for himself, so we will definitely let him. I like to call it bedtime, even though it may be not bedtime, but
it's bedtime.
There you go.
Not 9:30 to 10 is the sweet spot.
I got you. Yeah.
Well,
Well,
do you have anything you'd like to say before you turn loose, Matt?
I mean, to you guys, just nice conversation. It was fun to hang out. I'm glad that you were able to have me on. It was a good time. For everybody else that's watching, it's kind of a hurry up and wait type scenario right now. I've got a lot of cool stuff that's coming down this year. A lot of the good project stuff that I've been raising up is finally to the point where it's going for me. So a lot of cool project animals, both high end and pet level. A lot of the shows that we've got coming up, obviously we talked about this week, is the Indianapolis show. So I'll be there set up with Ken of Primal Scales. We're going to split an end cap there. And then I'll be at the Sin City show every month. But then the next big weekend show that we've got is going to be August 1st and 2nd in Atlanta at the Southeast Reptile Expo. If you haven't been to that show, it's my favorite show. So that one's definitely worth going down for. And then we'll more than likely be back at Tinley in the fall.
Cool. Awesome. Well,
Yeah.
I will be guaranteed to see you at most of those.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, definitely the Sin City shows for sure. Absolutely. I don't think I missed this month because I completely forgot to check the date. I would have been
Yeah,
there.
I was working.
I would have been there. I was like, there's got to be reptile shows going on this month. I was like, Cincinnati's got to have one, and I'm like, oh well, maybe it's later in the month, maybe it's the last weekend, you know. I'm like, no, the last weekend that'd be May 2nd. Like that doesn't make any sense. And then sure enough, missed it. I'm like, oh
Yeah. Yeah. I think
oh,
the next
darn
one's
it.
May 17th.
Okay.
And then I'm also going to be doing, there's a show in Findlay, which is probably 2 hours north from me. It's up near Toledo. And it's a smaller venue, but it's super nice. Like the small selection that there is there, it's nice. So that one is a monthly show as well, and I'm going to try to get to that one as many times as I can. There's some overlapping dates, but at least for this year, I'm going to try to get up there as much as I can.
Awesome.
Yeah, absolutely.
Awesome. Yeah, I'm a reptile nerd, and I love going to expos.
Yeah. Good way to spend a day.
Yeah.
Any weekend, and the wife's all about going to the expos too. Every weekend that I've got remotely any free time, she's like, "What shows are this weekend? Can we drive to them? Is that within driving range? Can we do it?"
Yeah.
So, yeah,
Nice.
yeah. And I've noticed your family's been going to the shows and stuff with you on the weekends as well. I see your pictures pop up with your wife and child all the time.
Yeah, it works out really nice being that Cincinnati is so close, and so they'll come up right before we open. So they'll get there around like 9:30, and they'll hang out with us until about noon. And then her grandparents actually live 5 minutes down the road from Sin City, so it's cool for them because she'll come hang out with us. I get to have her at the show with me, and then just by the time she's starting to get annoyed by being at the show and she wants to go crawl around and play and can't let her crawl out in the middle out, she'll take her and go over to grandma's, and they'll be able to play with her for a couple hours. So that works out really well. We took her to Atlanta with us when she was like 10 weeks old, and did perfectly. Like no issues in the car, no issues at the show, but she was a little potato that you just had in the crook of your arm for the whole time. We're like, man, this is easy. We'll just take her with us everywhere we go. No.
Wait till they start getting
mobile.
under them.
Yeah, they start getting mobile and they start getting curious.
Yeah. And she's a busybody, so she is not gonna sit down and hang out for very long. She's off.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
So what do you got to say, John? Anything?
Well, I mean, if we're closing shop, let's just remind everybody, love you guys, love all the support you give. As always, we will be here every Monday. Haven't missed a Monday yet. Got talking with Carl last night. We will be coming up on our 1 year. You said about middle of July, so we'll hit the 1 year mark, guys. We're going to celebrate in a big way. Hopefully, if everything goes to plan, we can have all the sponsors pop in from this year, and have you guys all on all at the same time. We would love to have an awesome epic show for our 1 year celebration. Thank you guys for bearing with us through all the trials and tribulations as we evolve this channel into something amazing. Huge shout out to all of our sponsors. Dirty Bay Reptiles. Garrett is a amazing guy. Always has some really cool stuff. White Feather Balls, Val, he's in the chat now, lighting everybody up with some comments. He's an awesome dude. Love catching him over on the TikTok. He's always got a smile on his face. Go check him out. G Paul and Mrs. G Paul down in Florida with Ribbons Forge Clown Factory. They are such amazing people. We absolutely love hearing from them. We love seeing them. They are always backing us, always supporting us, always commenting. They got your back always. So check them out on their show on Sundays over on YouTube.
Got an ad I'll run here in a minute.
Yep, there you go. But yeah, check them out. But again, thank you everybody in the chat. Thank you all for everything that you do for us and do for the community. Remember that statement: community is everything to us. We want to keep pushing forward to that wealth of knowledge and that wealth of people around us. So look forward to seeing you guys in the next one. And that does it for me.
Yeah. I'm gonna quit following John because he says everything.
I got a lot of wind in me.
He put a little bow on it for you.
Yeah.
Nice and wrapped up, Carl. All you got to be like is
Slam dunk it, right?
send her home.
Yeah, like community is important for me. I definitely appreciate the support as well, and I appreciate you guys showing up every week, no matter what, through all the BS and the growing pains. For sure, when we first started, like the OBS stuff was a nightmare.
Oh yeah,
audio issues, video issues. It was nuts. Not a lot of people have the patience these days to stick through stuff like that. But I think we all get up here, especially on the open panel nights, and just chop it up and have fun. And it's never a business channel, right? It's all about having fun and decent conversation. And I think that's what keeps me coming back every single Monday. Again, just like John said, we have not missed a Monday since we started going live on Instagram full time, when it was like, hey, let's just make this a regular thing. So we kind of have. I appreciate you guys, and please continue to share out the channel. Let's get everybody back onto the new channel. Hopefully they won't have to look so hard to find us
next time.
Yeah. We tried to tell everybody and share some stuff out with links to the new channel, but I know as well as you know, people are busy and things don't always stick. So let's try to corral everybody back to where it all happens. And Matt, we'll have to do a follow-up show later on towards the end of the year, probably, and see when we got an idea where you started your year off, your first year as a full-time breeder.
Mm-hmm.
Let's follow up with that at the end of the year and see where you stand. I want to do some comparisons, see what you've learned, what you would have done over. Any of these little pieces of knowledge that would benefit us as newer breeders and people who want to start vending. After all, that's what we started this show for, is just so we could learn and what information we do have and what knowledge we do have to push out to different people. So, I mean, that's kind of what we do here. We change up topics. We talked about more than just ball pythons as well. We just mainly like to have fun and chop it up and have good conversation with good people. So,
yeah, absolutely. I'll be happy to come back.
Yeah.
And you're always welcome on one of our open panel nights. Believe me.
Yeah.
We get a lot of people floating in and out on those nights. It's awesome.
Yeah. So your link stays good. So save that link. And then anytime you've got a free Monday evening, even if you can't stay the whole show, you just want to pop in and say, hey, if it says open panel, hit the link. We'll bring you up.
Okay. Cool.
Great nights for snake and tail. We'll just leave it at that.
Yeah.
You know,
yeah. If you got something,
pop in and just be holding something, right?
Yeah. Something you're getting ready to take to another show coming up and you're dying to show it off. Hit us up. We love snake and tail.
Okay. Yeah. Sounds good, man.
Yeah. Awesome. Well, thank you guys so much for tuning in. And I think we're going to cut it for tonight and let these fine gentlemen go to bed.
Yeah. I got early morning tomorrow, so let's get after it. Let's go, guys.
Yep. I'm gonna play G Paul's ad to close this out, and we'll follow it up with the all podcast ad, and then we'll see you guys later, man.
What it takes to